Hello everyone, welcome to Minimal Mindful Mama. Today we're going to be doing some work in the garden to prep for spring. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe down below. I'm also going to be showing you my personal easy compost method. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So here is my current veggie garden bed. It has some ashes in it from our fireplace, and I'm going to be adding the compost into this and mixing it up to prep the soil. So the first thing I'm doing is digging a hole. I'm going to work in sections, so I'm just starting here. This is my compost bin. I do mix it occasionally, but I really don't do much to it. There's all sorts of fancy compost setups that you can purchase, but this is pretty much what I do. The key is that it's just sitting directly on the ground. There's no barrier or anything. It's literally just the sides have the wire around to prevent things from falling out, but it needs to be touching the ground so that the worms and everything can have that access. So to use this compost for spring, I'm just going to remove everything that's on top that isn't decomposed. Once I've dug down beneath it, you'll find this really rich black soil. It should have plenty of worms in it. It's kind of gross, but that's how you know it's good compost. I'm just going to carry this whole thing over to the hole I've dug in my garden and add in worms and all. The worms are going to be so good for the garden soil. Then I'm going to put the soil that I've dug out back on top. Then I'll dig my next hole and continue to do the whole garden bed in sections. I'll continue to dig out this rich black compost from my compost bin. I know when I've reached the end of it when I see the lighter color of soil beneath. That's how you'll know that you've reached the bottom of the compost and the beginning of just the regular soil. You can see a pretty drastic color difference here. Once I've gotten all the compost that I plan to use out of the bin and is pretty much down to the soil, I'm going to go ahead and put everything that was in the wheelbarrow and not composted yet back into the compost bin so it can continue to compost. As you can see, it's about half as full as it was, so now I can continue to use the compost bin throughout the year. And as it decomposes, it will continue to pack down and I'll be able to add more and more. I made a quick sketch of my garden plan for this year. So I have strawberry plants all around the edges here. They'll be back from last year. In these small little boxes, I plan to put nasturtium this year. And then I'm going to do the tomato plants with basil and lettuce and spinach interspersed, as well as celery. Then I already have sage and lavender planted here, and they'll return. I plan to do some eggplant and zucchini. And then along the trellis in the middle, I'll do snap peas to start and then cucumbers to replace them. But for now, I'm just going to plant lettuce and spinach and early beets. I'd like to get a decent crop before I plant anything else, just an early crop. So I'm going to cover this entire area in the beets, and then I'll do the lettuce and the spinach over here. And then by the trellis in the middle, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 rows of early snap peas. So here are the seeds. I just picked up some from Lowe's that they had out, and we're going to go ahead and plant these in the garden. I noticed our forsythia bush has some early buds starting on it, so I'm going to actually get some branches and bring them inside to use as decor. I love the bright yellow forsythia for Easter and spring, so I'm just going to bring those inside to kind of push those buds to blossom. So I'm just cutting some long pieces of branches, and then I'm going to bring them inside and put them in water. The bush probably won't bloom outside for a while yet, but by doing this, it'll actually bloom faster inside. So I just cut all these branches to an even length, and then I'm gonna add water to the vase and put them in the water. I will probably need to change the water after a day or two, and then I'll just arrange these branches to be a little more spread out and aesthetic looking. You can see how after only one day, these branches are so much more bloomed. So it definitely pushes them to bloom faster when you bring them inside in the heat and the warmth. Next, I'm going to do some pruning. I know this isn't the ideal time to do it, but it definitely needs to be done. So I'm just going to cut back a few of these branches that are getting massively overgrown. Next, I went to Produce Junction to pick up some fruits and veggies for the week, and I was planning on getting some cut flowers as well. I wanted to have some tulips or maybe some anemones or ranunculus to put in a vase on the table. However, they actually had little mini potted ranunculus. My husband is going to be building me some garden boxes, and I was planning on ordering some ranunculus to plant in there as well, but everywhere that I keep looking has been sold out. So I was really excited to see these, and I'm gonna attempt to grow them in my garden as well. If you have any tips for ranunculus, let me know. I've never grown them before, and I know that especially since I'm planning on trying to grow them after they've been potted, that might be a little bit trickier. So if you have any advice for that, be sure to comment below and let me know what I can do to up my chances of these surviving. I just think they're so pretty, and I'm trying to do like a cutting flower sort of garden. If you've been here a while, you know how much I enjoyed my wildflower garden last year. So I'm kind of expanding on that, and I wanted to do some different types of cutting flowers. I've gotten a lot of different seeds and I've started many of them already, so I'm excited to try and add ranunculus to that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.